So, hello everybody. Uh, this was originally streamed on Twitch, but I really don't recommend you go watch that. The audio is really quiet, for my voice at least, because I didn't test anything for whatever reason before doing any of this. Uh, so it's hard to hear what I'm saying. But what I was saying, or what I was talking about, is the creations that I've made and posted about on my Twitter. And I was just kind of going over things and stuff, but I don't think I really wanted to go in depth as much as I wanted to because I was playing a game and I kind of wanted to, play the game too. So in this video, I'll be going a little bit more in depth than I did in the stream about these things, and also you'll be able to hear me this time around, hopefully. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, first off, Gundam Dantes. You've seen him already, he's everywhere. The profile picture, some of the Twitter posts, the avatar, he's the guy. He's my favorite thing I've ever made, and I've put a lot of effort into him. And he's been through a lot of changes, actually, with a little more over the span of a year. Originally, he was really nothing more than something I was experimenting with. Everyone's got one of those, just some kind of thing that they throw parts on, just to mess around with, and stuff like that. It was originally going to be some kind of like antagonistic suit to another build that I had at the time, but I ended up messing with them a little bit more, and it just kind of turned into its own thing. The first image in the post talking about him a little bit wasn't actually called Gundam Dantes at the time. It was called Exia Ranger, actually. I called it that because it kind of gave me the vibe of like Power Rangers or something like that. I don't know. It just kind of reminds me of that a little bit. So I gave it that name for the time being. And I believe some point after that, I got into Devil May Cry, and I saw Dante, and I was like, "Whoa, this guy's so cool!" And I liked the Gundam that I made, but what if I made him like Dante? What if I made him cool? And then he ended up turning into what he looked like in the second image. The biggest change there is the skirting armor, which I actually tried to make look like a trench coat, something that like Dante or Virgil would wear in Devil May Cry, and also a little bit like some actual armor too at the same time. I'm personally a big fan of the trench coats that looks like Dante's and Virgil's. I mean, they just look really cool. I would wear that in public, just saying. And plus, I don't think I've ever seen any other like Gundams or like any custom creations or any Gunpla that kind of tried to replicate clothing in their builds. So I think that makes Dante's a little more unique. Not too long ago though, I did update the articulation of the skirting armor to make it look a little bit more fluent, or have some more fluent posing, to give off the feel of it being like a coat, like how I designed it to be. For the side skirts, it used to be just the hinge and like the swivel, but I ended up changing it to the Destinies, the recent high grade Destinies articulation, where it's a swivel, a hinge joint, and then another swivel, and it looks really good. I also changed the back skirting armor trench coat thing. It was originally a hinge joint, but I changed it to a ball joint so it can move side to side. And that's pretty good too, although it can't really move up as much as a hinge joint. And I am thinking about updating that, but I'll post about that later for another time. Uh, Next up is the third image. The biggest change there is the arms. I really just didn't like how they looked anymore, and I really don't like how they look now. They're too gauntlet-like, you know. If that makes any sense. They just felt a little too bulky, and I really liked the GN condensers on the real grade Exia that I had. So I did a little bit of switching around, and then there it was. And I'm glad that I made that change, because I feel like it fits more than what it used to. Because again, I thought it kind of looked like gauntlets, and it looked a little weird. So yeah, I'm glad I made that change. So in between the third and the fourth image, I did get images of Dante's between the third and the fourth image, but I never made any posts, I never made any like specific photo shoot, I guess, to like recreate like the pose that he does in there. So it's just a little weird, I guess. He suddenly gains like a GN drive, and then the updated GN condensers on the sides of the knees. But I think in the end, that ends up kind of like finalizing it all. I don't think I'll make any more major changes to its design. I am thinking about changing the connection of the GN drive. I think it would give it a little bit more posability, but again, that'll be another time on Twitter. So that's it for Gundam Dante's. Alright, next up is Gundam Dante's sibling suit, Virgil's Gundam. Now, I know this isn't something I posted about on Twitter, but it is something I did mention in this stream. It is a little awkward since it doesn't have any real form that I've made. It's a thought in my head because I can't really draw that well, and I don't know. I guess I'm just not too motivated enough to work with the official artworks for the things I want to use. But let's see. I do want to talk about it though, because I think it's kind of interesting. I think the main things I'm thinking about using, or like fusing together, or like the Gundams, are Reborn's Gundam, Nobel Gundam, Gundam Barbatos, and then maybe the Destiny Gundam. I want to give it a slightly more feminine design, because the pilot is female. Instead of like the Dante's Inferno and stuff like that, where Dante and Virgil are brothers and stuff. It's a brother and a sister. One thing I wanted to do with Virgil's Gundam is I want to have the sheath for the katana be attached to its left arm. This was inspired by Virgil's devil form from Devil May Cry, where his sheath is fused to its the sheath for his sword is fused to his arm, and it can like move at a hinge and stuff, and it looks really cool. And I already did something like that for Dante's in the photo dump you can see, but I didn't give it the hinge joint. I was but I couldn't work it out. It was just too compact. So I just kind of ended up skipping out on that. But when I do get around to making Virgil's Gundam, I will add the hinge joint. Another thing I want to do, I want to use the GN bits from Reborn's Gundams as this trench coat skirting armor, to replicate another thing from Virgil, which is the summoned swords. And for anyone who doesn't know, the summoned swords are these like ethereal swords that Virgil just kind of makes them magically appear, and that he can have like fire off at his enemies and stuff. And it looks really cool. And I thought it's kind of like the funnels and stuff from Gundam. So why not use that? Why not use that from like a kit that I'm going to be using for that build? And I'm thinking about maybe also giving it a pair of gauntlets and greaves and another sword, like yet again Virgil's 3 main weapons that he uses in Devil May Cry. I was thinking about using the gauntlets from Dante's as well, maybe, because in Devil May Cry 3, Dante and Virgil both use the same pair of gauntlets, but you do obtain the gauntlets after you fight Virgil, when he obtains those. That's all about Gundam Virgils. Let's move on. Alright, now, up next, we have Gundam Zachel, or Zachel. I honestly don't know the pronunciation myself, even though I named it that. But this build was just something I made for fun. I wanted to make something a little bit bulky, and also after seeing Gundam Zagan, I think that's how you say it, from Gundam IBO, I was like, I gotta make something like that, dude. So, I got the building. It was actually pretty difficult to put together, but that's mainly because of the parts that I used for it, though. The torso, or like the very center of it, I used the Gundam 00's waist, and there's not too much space to use on the sides. So it was kind of like a bit of some struggling to get the Ahab reactors on there. But I do think I glued those to the back unit as well, which is glued onto the back of the torso piece that I used. So it kind of like, just got a little bit more stable. And then I put the IBO arms in between the 00 waist and the Ahab reactors, just to fill in the gap. And the spine section, I guess I'll call it. I don't really know what else to call it. That went through a little bit of changes too. I had to thicken it up a little bit because it looked really thin, and it just was not cutting it. So, yeah, that was a little difficult to put together. I do have some favorite parts of it, specifically the shoulders and the head. The shoulders are really nice because I used the Ariel's shoulders, and then with the hip joints from either the 00 or the Quantas, and I think it looks really good. I just snapped off the original connection from the Ariel's shoulder and glued a peg on there, and then put the 00's or Quantas hip joint there. And then I cut the ankle piece from an IBO frame, like the circle. I cut that in half, and I put it on the bottom of the hip piece, and it looks really good. It looks really flush, in my opinion, and I like how it turned out. Next thing is the head. That's pretty good looking too. It's pretty simple. It's just the Destiny's head with a couple of sanded down sections, and the Gundam Bale's face. Uh, and like I said, it's pretty simple, but I think it looks really good. I didn't even have to glue Bale's face to the back of the head. It just fit in so snugly. It doesn't even move too, which is pretty cool. Uh, the binders are also pretty interesting. Um, as you can see, they use the Double O's back unit, uh, and then specifically the Gundam Dantalion's legs, and then the Real Grade Zeta's uh, wing binders. And then I stuck some extended IBO arms onto the like it's not like a specific socket. It's just a gap in the IBO legs that they're just kind of like sat into. So they're not really on there too tightly, but because they're not too heavy, they stay on fine enough. But I kind of wanted to recreate something from Zagan too. That's why I put the little sub arms there, and I think that looks really cool. I really like the image where Satchel catches the heat axe from Zaku. And there is another image I didn't post because I didn't have enough space for it, and I didn't feel like just posting one image. But it's a continuation of the last image where he punches, or he pulls it forward and then punches the head in with his other arm. And it looks really cool in my opinion. I might post about it. I might make a post, like unposted pictures that I wanted to post but didn't because they didn't fit, and yada yada yada. But that's all for Zatchel. Alright, next up is the Mobile Armor Ifrit. Just like Zachel, it's something I made for fun, but at the time, I wanted something a little bit more antagonistic. Like something that makes like when someone sees it, they're like, yeah, that guy, he looks like he'd fuck shit up. And that's basically what I went for. I used the arms from the Gundam Dantalion, the big from like the half cow. I don't remember what it was called, but it's like the giant extra pair of arms that wrap around the other ones that he can use, and I thought that fit. And then the mono eye as well is another thing. I wanted to have like a little small, or not small, but like a little eye in the middle, just unblinking, no emotion. It just stares, and it won't stop staring until you are gone. That's basically what I was aiming for that. The name, it's a bit of a pun, actually. The I, in Ifrit, is kind of like I, the mono eye, and I fused it with the name Ifrit, which I heard from DMC1. It's a pair of gauntlets. I don't know about it in any kind of mythology, so oops. But I still thought it was a cool sounding name. The last image in the post talking about it, where it's with Dante's, that was inspired by the last moment in Goku and Broly's fight in the movie Dragon Ball Z's Broly, the Legendary Super Saiyan. It's for the people who didn't catch that. I really liked it a lot. I liked the original shot where they're like charging at each other before they punch each other. Like the harsh lighting in like outer space with the sun shining looks really cool, and I wanted to replicate that. And I unintentionally caught the sun too. Like, I guess kind of recreated the sun in that image too. The harsh lighting, I remembered I was taking pictures before, and I thought it would be a good idea to do it on the counter, but the harsh lighting, I was like, oh, I can't do it there. But I remembered that. I was like, I could recreate the harsh shading there. And so I took it there. And then I didn't realize it, but the ceiling light kind of looks like the sun in the image, where it's like shining. And I thought it's unintentional, but it looks really cool. And also, while talking about that post, I'm surprised that it actually ended up being my most liked thing. It was like at the time of streaming, it was about like tied for most liked. But then like overnight, it just blew up. I I don't know what was about it. I didn't know if people liked how Ifrit looked. I don't know if it was the reference image, but I'm glad you guys liked it. I do have another design similar to it that I posted, like my first post. I haven't posted about it yet, but I'll post about it. And yeah, glad you guys like that. All right. The last thing, uh, the last thing in line, are the Lego Robot Dinosaur things that I made. Um, I really like these things a lot. The one that I have in real life, it's a super fun pose, even with the somewhat lacking knee joint. Uh, it's still fun. I like throwing it in a bunch of poses. Like how I have it set up, and it's just like, I forgot what the term was, but just like something you just like pick up, mess around for a little bit, and put it back down. Something like that. I am really proud of the build because it's mostly original and posable, and it looks great. Uh, it really originated many years back, where I tried to build a mock that the YouTuber ChubbyBots made. He does like Lego Mecha stuff, and he had like a tutorial video for like a mecha that he made, and I liked it a lot. And I had the set that that he used for it, and I tried to I tried to make it, but little stupid idiot kid me couldn't find some of the parts, so I just opted to make like a mini version, and I liked it. Until I took it apart, built it a couple of years later with a frame that pretty much looks how it does now. Took it apart again, and then a couple of months ago, rebuilt it again. And I've made some changes to what it used to look like a couple of years back. It originally had like these curved down thruster wings things, and it just looks really weird. It was part of the original build, but it just didn't look that good. And while trying to build it a couple of months back, I think I was trying to replicate the Freedom Gundam's wings, but I couldn't, so I just opted with like the one thing. It still looks good. I like it. I like how it looked. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I ended up doing that instead. And the other three that I posted about, I really like too. It's just more or less just messing around with some of the proportions. With the original, it just has like the feet that curve down, but with the Destiny one, or the one that looks like Destiny, and the one with the multiple swords, have like I guess more boot looking lower legs. I like that a lot. I like that little thing that I've done with those two. And the Destiny looking one, also, I messed around with, like, I wanted to give it like the shoulder armor stuff too, and I'm glad how that turned out. I tried to do that for the Legend one, but the parts didn't come in the color, because I do want to get these one day, because the studio that I used for the building those was Bricklink Studio, which is basically just a thing that gives you the entire catalog for every Lego piece ever. It's fun to mess around with them, and it's great for just thinking of things. And then if you make something that you really like and have an account, you can straight up just buy it if the parts are in stock. Last time I checked for the Seven Swords ones, as I'll call it, they all were, all the parts and stuff, but I don't know how it is now, although I would like to get the other ones too. And also, it does tell you the price too if you highlight all the pieces in your thing, which is also a really nice feature. It's a very useful application. If you do like building Lego and you somehow hadn't heard of this, go download it. It's free. You don't have to do it. Or if you just don't like, or if you just mess around with Lego time to time, maybe think about getting it. And that's all there really is for those, and everyone else too. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on about these things, and I think I might do another one of these things in the future, probably when I post 4 more new creations and stuff. I'll go over those too. This would probably be like a little mini series I do, just talking about these things. So hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.
You scared?
I don't know why I can't do the second variation on the first try. I have to like. Oh, well, I lied actually. Sorry. Alright, I lied. Sorry. Apparently I can. It's the drop down. Now, oh. Oh. Oh, okay. It's something else. I wonder if you're hitting. Oh. Oh my god. I didn't think that would work. Oh. Wake him again? You. Oh my god. I didn't think that was gonna work. Oh my god. That was crazy.